Lights. Camera. Action. What is that? Oh no, what's happening? Welcome back to another Plasticon building thing, building stuff. I am going to build what is known as the 70841 Lego set from the Lego 2 movie. It's really appealed to me. Why? Well, if you guys have seen my 1,000 subscriber thing, I actually did an entire build on a lot of the vintage, older Lego sets, because I'm actually a big adamant fan of Lego, because I actually like Lego. Always have, always will. These guys here are really cool. I do like these a lot, but I thought, this kind of fits in, considering it's very old school in its build. I know it's not exactly vintage, because a lot of guys out there that are major adamant Lego collectors are like, why are they doing that? They're reissuing our old Lego men. Well, you know what? This firsthand, I've never had these in hand. Let's see how close these really are to the vintage sets. I do happen to like the packaging. First off, it's kind of cool. It's not really that retro with the packaging, I can tell you that. It only shows a couple of the builds because, most of the time whenever they did these kind of build thingies on the back for any kind of Lego set, it wasn't like this at all. It was completely different back then. And you can tell that it's got some pretty cool artwork there. It's not terrible. I actually don't mind this background, but the background's actually not even a moon surface. It looks like a planet that actually already has been habited, and this is like metal plating, so it's kind of weird. Anyway, it's probably from the movie. I haven't seen Lego 2. I only saw Lego 1, so shoot me on that. Anyhow, the figures in here actually have names called Kenny, which is a yellow one, Benny, obviously everybody knows about Benny and the spaceship. Lenny, which is a pink one, which this never existed, especially back in the day. It was always a red one. And then Jenny, which is white. I do like this. It's a very cool little vibe. I do like the idea it's got little, they actually have little tools and stuff, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, let's crack into this thing. I'm going to push in right here on the packaging, just like you should be able to do. Never opened this set, and I'm having problems trying to do that, so here we go. Plasticon Struggles with Boxes 2.0. You guys remember those? Yeah, don't remind me. Anyway, it was horrible. Let's see here. A screwdriver here. Probably pop this in here and pop the seal just like that. How about that? See, there we go. All professional like. Because, precision screwdriver. Being a customizer, that always helps. Go ahead and pop this flap open, and it's obviously kind of glued in. So if you guys want to try to open them up without damaging the box, because that'd be the easiest way. I've already creased it a little, but that's okay. This is mine. I'm not planning on reselling it. Anyway, pull all these goodies out. There's nothing else in here. There's no craziness in the box. But, I'll move that out of the way. Looks like we actually have a bit of a instruction booklet here, which is kind of neat. It's got these little fancy things that you new kids know about that I don't. I don't know, some kind of digital readout thing. I guess this is how you can get the instructions. It looks like the instructions will be available on the internet. I think that's what this is supposed to be, but who needs that when you actually have the paper ones? What's wrong with booklets? Anyhow. Pop this thing here open and take a look here. And it looks like I'm going to have you build Benny, of course, for the first one. How cliche. Anyhow, let's pop these open. How's that to smell? I smell new plastic. Anyway, gotta love the smell of brand new Lego. Put this in here, pop open too. I like to live dangerously. There's no numbers here, by the way, on the bags. I know about the old number system because I collected Lego and such, so I get it. But there's no Lego numbers on these, so let's open it up and let's build. plastic wreck. And dumping them all over the place. Oh, got a tire rolling away. And got rims rolling away. Got heads rolling away. Now let the heads roll, right? Let's get these packages out of my way. And let's get on to this. Like how they've already pre-done this a little bit here. You got Benny's, it's all scuffed up to try to make him look old. It's kind of funny. Not to mention the infamous molded as it's supposed to be cracked helmet, which is kind of funny. Considering that was a big thing until my guys don't have that issue because I take care of my stuff. But, you know. Anyway, if any of you guys ever put together a Lego figure, it's not that difficult. Benny's head is probably going to be the only one here that's really got any kind of like print on it, considering the rest of them should just be standard Lego. Something I'm already noticing though with the heads on these things, these are completely different than the original. Let me grab one of the original here for you guys. Pull this off here. If you notice, the original actually has a solid head hole. The new ones got this bit of a concaved thing. Just a little bit of a thing here. I'll show you real quick on one of my little director guys, my little TV dudes. Notice this actually has holes drilled inside of it. This is not a knockoff. This is actually the way Lego used to do it. Just a little history lesson here. Years ago in the 80s, they wanted this so that way kids, you know, they didn't think about this, but kids would accidentally swallow this. They swallowed this and got caught in their esophagus. They couldn't breathe. That's why they came out with the whole hole in the thingy-majiggy. But nowadays, I don't understand why they changed it, but there you go. There's the change. Don't get it. Safety laws make no sense sometimes, right? Anyway, a little bit of boring information there as we're putting together Benny here. And there we go. There's Benny in his little outfit. How cute. He's supposed to have a walkie-talkie, so let's hunt up the walkie-talkie in here. Should be one in here somewhere. And if you guys don't know what a walkie-talkie is, it's a radio that you talk back and forth to like, I don't know, your home base or whatever it is. And I'm not seeing, oh, there it is. Okay, this walkie-talkie's different. I remember the original ones did not have this crazy grating like this. This is completely different. That is totally new. So, good on you, Lego, for keeping everything authentic, so that way you can't put this on eBay and state it's something from the 80s when it is not. But there you go. There's Benny and his little radio. Kind of like that. I can actually prove to you guys that that's the way that it is, because let me take Mr. Original 80s Space Something guy off here. That's blue. And show you guys that the grading that's actually on the original and the grading that's on the new one. There you go. You can see that there's a major difference there. See how this is kind of molded like it is? And this is really, really weird, because I remember in the 80s, these were always like concaved like that. I don't know what was going on with their molding back then, but it was different, that's for sure. But there's Mr. 80s Space Guy next to Benny. Just because, you know, funny. Anyhow, let's move on to the next page, where they're going to make us build the pink space person. Space lady. I'm going to put her backpack on, because backpacks and such. And I like how they've done this all nice and pristine. It's really pretty. I like that. I actually like seeing that space logo. That space logo is nice to see again. And here we go. And she's supposed to have a wrench. This wrench has been around forever. This has been like an original wrench. This design for this wrench has never changed, and I love the fact that, you know, it's got a sharp pony bit, and that's fine. And what's funny about these, a lot of people don't know that you can take any random Lego block and you can actually put that onto the stud and it'll hold it just fine. It's kind of cool. Always like that. That was something I always thought was neat. And what else is kind of funny is I've actually used this part here to actually pry apart bricks, so it kind of works as a tool. Let's put the pink wannabe 80s space person back there with the rest of them. And let's move on to the white one, which the white one here I'm pretty excited about because I remember having one when I was a kid. And this is kind of neat because you'll notice there's no real like outline or anything like that on that that chest piece, because it's kind of neat. I don't mind it. And put this together real quick. And that. And this. And now I'm doing the helmet. And this is something else. That's completely different. This is not ribbed. The original actually has like ribbing here, and this actually goes a little further, I think, on the original ones. I don't know if I actually have an original one on any of my sets I have back there. But you do put the like little cylinder thing on there. And there you go. I actually think that's kind of neat that they're trying to homage the original stuff with the newer stuff, and it makes sense. I like it. It's cool. I'm not really ragging on this set, honestly. I think it's kind of neat. It's pretty cool so far. I do like that. I don't think I actually do have... Yep, oh, yep, I do. See how this black piece here has got like the ribbing on it? That is what the original ones look like. Kind of neat. I like the fact that it is a little different. That's a good thing, because, you know, those adamant buffs out there that are like, oh my god, you're going to take away from my vintage Lego by putting something like this up. Well, you know, it's kind of hard to change stamping on something unless you just like blatantly throw some crazy stamp on something. Let's move on to doing the yellow astronaut. Because Space Lego. And Space Lego is awesome. I love Space Lego. Space Lego is cool. And I don't know if you guys like Space Lego or not, but I do. I always have. I always will. It's just a thing. And there we go. Now you can tell. See how nice and pristine he is. He's actually missing his gold. He should have like gold stuff right here, just like his. But I am also noticing the way they did the helmet. They did the helmet to try to look like the original. If you notice here, the original has actually got a much thinner chin strap. This one's a little thicker, but it also does not have the two little nodules that stick out like the original rehash they did. Now if you look at this right here, it actually does have two little ridges here kind of sticking out here on the side. You don't see that on these, so that's actually kind of clever that they did a complete different remold for that. I'm also kind of noticing, I think I don't know if it's an optical illusion here or not, but it looks like the helmet is actually thicker as well. It's not as thin, which is kind of nice. That's a nice little change. I like that, so that way you can keep your originals separate from the new ones, so that way you don't get anything mixed up here. Now this is something, I don't even know if I actually have one of these anywhere back here. It don't looks like it. The metal detector, I'm noticing something majorly different here. This actually used to have a stud and a little, like a place where you can actually put a stud on the bottom and or the top. This is all one solid piece now. It doesn't actually have like the stud piece. So that's a cool little noticeable running change that they did to make it a little different, and you know, I don't mind it. I actually like the idea they're trying to throw a little bit of differences in some of the pieces, so that way they knew the guys out there that are adamant Lego collectors are gonna be like, well, I don't want somebody passing off this piece as vintage when it actually is not vintage and it was made in 2018, 2019, and so on and so forth. So yeah, good on them there. Anyhow, let's move on to building that little teeny tiny robot. There was a little robot on there. So we've got the first part right here, which has got like a little, I always call these like camera bodies or space laser bodies. You can actually call them robot bodies too, because you know I did that as well. Take this little stud piece here and attach it here. And then we're going to move on to number 2, which is going to have me put this antenna thingy on. This is kind of nice. There we go. And one thing I did notice, and this is something I've always noticed with these antenna things, they're nice because, you know, they move back and forth, but they were always really, really hard to try to like position or move for like a robot head. I always noticed that. So normally what I do is I'll just like leave it facing straight forward, because I knew like years ago kids would pull this down and then try to twist it, and this whole thing here would like break. And that was scary. It's very scary seeing this little bitty antenna break off. Nobody wants to see that. But anyway, let's get this little bitty white yellow wedge. White. How's that white? Anyway. And a little blue wedge, and we will plug those on just like so. And I'm going to try to keep that rim from rolling away, because for some reason it wants to roll away. We don't want that. And then we're going to move on to the next part here, which we're going to be attaching, looks like little arms. And these little arm things actually look just like the original ones, so they are not much different there. And that's I'm noticing some changes in Lego pieces and some that are not, so that's fine. Got little arms, and then right here looks like we put a little satellite dish. We used to call these satellite dishes, and then we just put this on the bottom, and bam, there we go. There's our little robot. Super adorable. I like it. It's cute. Fits in with the little space theme we got going on. And then we've got to build a rover, a ground rover, yay, because we're building vehicles and stuff. So gotta have to get the 2x6 piece here, which is pretty old school. These I normally see like a sticker or something put on here, so that looks like a control panel, but we're gonna be putting that down here. It's probably for seating or maybe something else. Got a translucent piece here we gotta put on. Some lights, and then we're going to move on here and find a wedge piece, and we're going to plug this wedge piece on just like so, and then we're going to next put these little bitty these things here with the little clippy thing. Now this is a little bit of a history lesson here. These used to not be big tall things like this. They used to be just like a single stud, and it was like a single width, like the width of this. And you actually had to have 3 of these to actually build one of these. And that's something I noticed, that, you know, they started making these, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It just kind of takes away from the part count, but you know, put a couple of those on the back, because you know, it's probably going to be there for holding what would be not weapons, but equipment. And we got another one of these little pieces here. We're going to put it on there. So there we go. See, nice. See? And then we're going to put this over, and we're going to put some axles on. We have axles because, you know, axle rows. No, wait. Got to have your axles, because axles are very important. Why are they important? Because you can't have a rolling thing without an axle to attach wheels to, right? Now it looks like we got these little bitty things that's got like a bar. I'm going to put these on the sides, because these are probably like steps or just some way to make it a little wider. Could be something dealing with like the drivetrain and such for the little vehicle. And then we're going to put a couple of these little, I like to call these inverted satellite dishes. I know some people want to call them skid plates, or I don't know what else, but you know. Put a couple of those little things on there, and I guess that's just to kind of keep it from doing the thing. That's kind of funny, because see how it like rocks back and forth. This is something you used to do like years ago, like back when they came with the pirate sets and such. They had these pieces that came out, and this is how you got your rocking motion for like your boats. It's so funny. I love it. Anyway, let's put our little steering wheel here. It's going to go over the headlights. The steering wheels. I'm noticing really no difference in any of those kind of pieces too. Now we got to put the tire and the wheel together. I normally just do that. I just push them in just like so. I'll kind of wiggle them back and forth, because sometimes they catch right here and then I want to kind of wedge out a little. You just have to kind of play with that a little bit to make that work. There we go. See? Interchangeable wheels. remember when there were no interchangeable wheels. It was crazy back then because, you know, you had a solid metal axle with two little bitty things that came out like this, and they were attached to it, and you'd literally take the rubber tire and you had to put the rubber tire over it, and that was it. There was no like completely assembling everything. And when these came out, this was like revolutionary. I was like, oh wow, I can take. There we go. Spinny, spinny, spin, spin. Because, you know, rolling things and such. And there we go. Whee! Rolling. And it rolls. Like rolling things should. Yay, it rolls. There's our rolly car thing. Kind of cool. I like it. Anyway, let's move on to the space jet. Because, you know, it's a space jet. Anyway, we got a nice little, it's a 2x8 we have to build off of. I'm going to take a little red piece here and put it on the back. And then we're going to take our little stubby wings, attach them just like so. Just like that. And then we're going to put this on there. It's going to be like little laser guns, you know, pew pew, right? Maybe. Or they could be just antenna for like sensing like alien life and such. And here's the old school bucket seat, because you know the old school bucket seat is very iconic. This is a very iconic piece for like all like old space Lego stuff. Always had something like that. And then gotta put the nice little steering wheel on, just like so. And then we're going to move on and put, we need two of these little doohickeys. They're just little bitty flat light thingies. We're going to put these back here. Adds a little bit of detail on there, so that way you got some more little like light thingies to go on there. Then we're going to take the awesome little logo piece here, and this is a very, very awesome thing to actually have like a slope with the emblem put on there, and that's kind of nice because, you know, it's like, whoa, there I'm dropping things, and it just really adds to it. Now we've got this little antenna, and these are new pieces. This is it looks like a little, to me it looks like a little robot hand, which is kind of neat. I mean, it is kind of a robot hand because they used them on these little blind box guys. They actually have the little robot hand. That's kind of a thing they did. And then years ago, I forget what sets they were, they had these little guys, and then they had little robot hands. See, robot hand. And that's literally what that piece is. It's kind of neat. I do like the fact they're actually using these on those. But you're supposed to push it into the little hole here. There's a little hole here on the sides. And it only go in that far. It's not going to go in any further because it hits the stud in the middle. So, and then you'll take your little antenna and click it on just like so. You can move it forward and go pew pew like it's a laser, if you want to. But you know. Then here on the back we got this like what they call a repulsor engine, because you know you got to put this here around on the very back. That's kind of neat. That's actually a new piece. This looks like a piece they actually use for like maybe R5D4 for like your Star Wars and stuff like that. That's what that piece there reminds me of. It's kind of neat. I do like that. And I believe that is it. That is the build. Wow. That was extremely simple. So you're left with an antenna, two wedges, two little flat light pieces, an extra rim, and then an extra robot hand. Yep. Let's take our little guys here, our brand new little guys, and let's put the little white guy here driving the little rover here, because it's a very iconic thing to do. Let's take the gun out of his hand, or sensor machine, or whatever you want to call it, and plug it here on the back just like that, because you know that looks kind of iconic, right? It's a very thing to do there. And if you notice, they put this wedge here because you want the clearance for the backpack. You have to have clearance for that, otherwise you can't really set these guys in anything. And then let's take, let's just put Benny there. And take his walkie-talkie off, and let's put this on the back of the Rover, because, you know, it kind of fits. There's really no other place to put it on this, otherwise maybe I'd flip it off underneath, or maybe you can take this other little piece here and then use it for a secondary holder if you want to. I'm going to take Benny here, I'm going to put him in a spaceship, because, you know, spaceships. And there you go, Benny in the spaceship. Whee! Great. Oh, he does happen to have an alternate face, just to let you guys know. And most of you guys have probably seen Jane Bricks, because Jane Bricks does a lot of good reviews on this stuff. But, yeah, spin his head around. Oh no, he's not very happy. He's gonna crash. Because, you know, that or maybe he's being chased by space aliens. Because, you know, space aliens and spaceships and such. Pew pew. Or something. I don't know. Cool. I like it. But anyway, let's turn his head here around. But yeah, I've noticed this is a really... The build is nice. I actually like this build. This isn't a bad build. It's very simple. And I actually think it's kind of neat. It's not terrible. Put our pink astronaut can actually ride there on the back if we want to, which is kind of funny. I actually think that's kind of hilarious that we are using that as a riding platform. But that's kind of cool. I actually like this set. It really fits in with a lot of the older stuff. Like here's some of the older vehicles sitting next to it, and so far I'm pretty well impressed. I mean, it's nowhere near as big as this little spaceship here is that I have, but I mean, I think it really fits in with the theme here. I mean, it goes with these guys very well. Even with my little wind-up robot from my blind packs, because, you know, he's awesome. I love this guy. This is like awesome because it reminds me of the old tin wind-up robots, because he actually has a wind-up crank, so, you know, that's cool. But yeah, I do like this set. This set's very neat. I think it's a very solid set. It really does fit in very well with a lot of your vintage stuff. So if you're one of those kind of guys out there like, oh, well, I need a white one, or I would like to get another yellow guy, or a blue one, or hey, it'd be nice to have a pink one, so that way I just have one that's just different to kind of put in the group. I mean, I think it works very well, considering, you know, now I've got like 3 of the yellow, and then 3 blue, and then like a white, a pink, and a red, which maybe these guys here are like the commanders of like the crew or whatever, you know. And then you got the little bitty robot, which is very cool. I do like the little robot. I think it looks great next to that one. But it's a pretty neat little thing. I actually think this is a very cool deal. Now, comparing the pink, both of the pink astronauts that's come out, I actually like this one because of the modern side's kind of neat. But this one here really does appeal to me better than this does. Because, I mean, this is neat in a very, like, almost a 90s style. Because in the 90s, that's when they come out with all the whole visor ordeal. This was very 80s and 70s. And I do like it that way. I think it's very cool. I mean, this one here looks neat. But she really does look out of place in that group. I mean, she doesn't really fit. So I'm going to put her back over here with the space aliens. Anyhow. This has been Plasticon. This has been a quick little cool build of like alien technology and space and robots and cool Lego stuff. Because, you know, I like Lego. Something I've always enjoyed. And honestly, this is a very cool little set. It's one of those ones I really think would be a nice one for you guys to try to find. I did happen to find this one on clearance in Walmart, so, you know, this thing was only $7 at Walmart, so if you guys can find it for that, awesome. If you can't, oh well. But, you know, I thought this was a really fun, interesting thing to do that would be a little different. Anyhow, this has been Plasticon, and this has been a build, and I'll see you guys around. That's it for now. Bye!